How's it going? Sunshine, water, and woods lovers, likers, subscribers. This is a little channel of mine. I'm Chris Minton, Sunshine, Water, and Woods. And we just tool around Florida, Georgia, all over the country, doing fun things that involve sunshine, water, woods, the outdoors. And today, we're gonna go crab fishing. So we've got this tropical storm rolling in, Tropical Storm Fred. Hasn't brought us too much bad weather, but I was curious. I was sitting around the house and I was like, I wonder if this is gonna make the crabs react poorly, react well. Only one way to find out. So we've got the traps all packed up. I'm gonna take the boat about 2 minutes from my house, go into the North Fork of the St Lucie River, put out our legal limit of 5 traps. Give it 24 hours. That storm is going to start hitting tonight. They say we'll start getting some pretty rainy weather around 5. We'll let them float for 24 hours. Let's. All right, so we got the boat all hooked up, heading down to the North Fork of the St Lucie River. It's a spot here in southern Florida, a freshwater estuary that basically flows in pretty much all the way through St Lucie County, Martin County, comes into the intercoastal, pours out of the St Lucie Inlet. Got my fishing buddy Dan. Say hey, Dan. Yeah. If I try to leave him behind, he is always very upset. So we got the 5 traps. I built those traps myself. I'm actually working on a video to show how to build those traps. They're fairly expensive when you buy them new. I found building them, other than the time cost, cuts the price in half. And I like to do things myself. I am not a fan of outsourcing unless I have to. I try to do a lot of the stuff that I do myself. That's part of the enjoyment for me. I would much rather catch a bunch of crabs in a bunch of traps that I spent hours and hours making than in ones that I bought at Walmart or whatever. For bait, I've got some old kingfish and mackerel fillets. So I typically never freeze fish. If I catch fish, I eat the fish before I freeze it. But I do keep a deep freezer. I deer hunt. I keep a lot of deer meat in my freezer. And I do keep some fish like mackerel, kingfish, stuff like that, because I like to smoke it for fish dip. And smoking fish takes all day. Don't always have time for that. So every once in a while I will freeze it. And unfortunately, I was out of town a couple of weeks ago and I got back and I heard this little beeping noise in my garage. And it was my freezer saying high temperature. Now everything wasn't hot, but it was no longer frozen. It was pretty soft, pretty mushy. I just don't trust eating fish that I don't know how long it was sitting at warm room temperature for. So, my loss, crab's gain. It is going to become crab food. I'm going to take some of those fillets and stick it in the trap. I much prefer fresh bait. Whether it's fresh mullet, my girlfriend's got 2 boys, I've got a daughter. A lot of times we'll go fishing in the local lakes. She lives down in Palm Beach Gardens, we'll fish in there. We always throw back the bluegill, the bass, all that kind of stuff, but we do catch quite a few invasive species. Cittillads, Oscars, things like that. I'll throw those in a bag, stick them in the fridge or the freezer for just a couple of days and use those for crab trap baits. But unfortunately, I don't have any of that. I do have a bunch of fish that went bad in my freezer. It's not going to be the freshest. Let's see how it works. I know last time we went out, I used lobster heads. I went out for mini season lobster season. I just took a hammer, crushed them up, and stuffed those in the pots, and we actually had a really good catch. I've got some footage of that. I will put that all together for you all. but I think we ended up with like 16 or 17 crabs in 5 pots, which is not a bad haul whatsoever. With the weather being how it is, we'll see if it's going to turn them on or make the crabbing worse. I am not sure with a big storm rolling in, but I am interested to see how these fillets do in comparison to those crab heads and in comparison to what I know about using fresher fish like mullet, jacks, things I may catch that day or the day before. So we will see. All we can do is put the traps in and find out. One thing I know is you don't learn anything sitting on the couch. Every time I come out here, I learn something new. And the nice thing about this place is literally a minute from my house. I started this video pulling out of my house. We are now here at the ramp. So I am going to get the boat loaded, put in the water, and I'll see you out there. So we're out here on the St Lucie River. It's a little windy. I did get the new media mod for this GoPro. I'm using the GoPro Hero 9. I actually just got the GoPro as well. They got this cool little media mod. Comes with a microphone improvement, basically a case that goes around it, and it's got the wind muffler. I have yet to shoot any video with it, so today's going to be a good day to find out if we're getting tons of wind noise or not through it. I'm hoping not. But anyway, we are on the water. We got the traps on the front of the boat. What's up, Dan the man? We got the good luck charm Dan. GPS is all fired up. Let's go to the first spot. Plop them in the water, see what happens. How you doing?
All right, how about yourself?
Beautiful day for a tropical storm.
Yes, sir.
All right, so typically when I'm crabbing, got my GPS and my fish finder on. I like to look for those deeper holes, those little pockets. I don't know if it seems that they congregate better there, but I typically do better in those deeper holes. Last time I was out here, we did better deeper in the river. The further along towards the intercoastal we got, the less action we have with our traps. So I'm gonna try a few pretty close to the ramp here. I'm gonna get everything set up. Sunshine, water, and woods. That's what it's all about. Let's find a little spot for this first one. So I'm sorry if this footage isn't from the greatest angle. Like I said, I just got this GoPro 9, and it's the gift that keeps on giving. You get it and then you realize, oh, I need this, I need that. So I've got some cool little tripod mounts, different mounts to hopefully give better angles, but for now, got that fish that I lost out of my freezer. It's all vacuum sealed. Slice it open. Now these traps, and I'll try to give you a little better view. Basically when I built these traps, what I did is I put a little bait cage up here. Now that bait cage goes on the bottom. When you drop that down, you want this bait cage to be laying on the bottom. So I'm actually looking at the bottom of the trap. I've got a weight here. It's actually just an old sash weight from, believe it or not, some of those old windows. I don't know if you know about old windows, but way back in the olden days, they used to put these big iron weights inside the wall to help you slide those wooden windows up and down. Well, a buddy of mine is in construction, and we were ripping all the side off of the house, and every window had 4 of these in it. My first thought, deep drop leads. But they're rusty, they're dirty, they've got a lot of surface area, they're not as good as lead for deep dropping. So I cut them up, I wrapped them in electrical tape, and I zip tied them to the bottom of the cage. I think these cages are heavy enough I wouldn't have to worry about them moving around, but I wanted to add a little bit more weight in case I put them in a high current area. Jet skier going by, enjoying this beautiful day. In case I put them in a high current area, something like that, just so that I know my trap is where I put it. So I'm gonna set you right up here. Let's get this trap all set up, put her in the water. In these traps, I put leaded line. When I first rigged them, I did not use leaded line. I just used regular poly line that floated. And what I realized is my line was staying on the surface. And even if I had my trap up against the side of the channel, the line would float way out in the middle of the channel. I didn't like it for navigational hazard reasons. I was worried somebody was going to run it over and I was going to lose my trap. So I went ahead and ordered a bunch of, Dan, stop drinking the bait water. I ordered a bunch of leaded line and swapped it out to that. This will be the first time I've put these traps in with the leaded line on it. With the old poly line, what I actually did is I took some bank sinkers and some rubber bands, and I kind of wrapped those rubber bands to hold it. Alright, I'm going to snap my trap closed. I use bungee cords, just makes it a lot easier to get it in and out. Now when you drop these traps, crabs come in these holes. I have one on each side, so 2 holes. You want those holes facing with the current. So right now I've got the current coming from my left, the front of the boat, towards the back of the boat, and when it turns, it'll go the opposite direction. So I put one hole that way, one hole this way. As that current moves, it takes the scent. These crabs seem to do better when those holes are facing with the current. I got a yoke system. Make sure that I got this thing turned right. Trap goes in. I like that leaded line much better. It's actually sinking instead of staying on the surface. I've got a float. Florida regulation says if you're a recreational crabber, you have to have a big R on your float. I'm not telling you the laws. Do your due diligence. That is one of the laws. Pots in. And we are crabbing. So one other thing I always do. I know this river like the back of my hand. I've been coming out on this river. I got my first boat when I was 9 years old. But even after just one day, every corner starts to look the same. So on my GPS, I don't know how well you can see that, I mark where I put the trap. A couple of reasons for that. If it drags a little bit, I want to know that I'm starting in the right place so I can start my search trying to figure out where my trap is. If somebody runs it over and they cut the line on it, I can come back with my fish finder, hopefully mark it on the bottom, use a treble hook and retrieve my trap. But going by memory, I don't care how long you've been out here, you will not remember exactly where that trap is. You'll look around and you'll think, was it this corner? Was it the next corner? So always take the time, mark it on your GPS so you know right where the trap is when you come back. If something goes wrong, hopefully you've got a chance to retrieve your trap. But as I said, it's a beautiful day out here. We got 4 more traps in the front. We got the first one in the water. Let's go put the rest out. And number 2 has been successfully deployed. I actually only put it about 200 yards down from the first one. Like I said, we did better on this end of the river last time we put them out. There was a nice hole right there. Gotta try it. Gotta see what happens. Great success in this little corner right here last time we were out. Gonna have to put one back in that money hole just to see. Alright, we've got all 5 traps out. It's the last one right there. We're going to head back to the barn, give them 24 hours to soak, see if we've got blue crab for dinner tomorrow night. If you all like what I'm doing here, want to see more of this, please feel free to leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see. If you want to see how I make these traps, my thoughts on putting them in, I've pretty much explained here. And if you like it, throw me a thumbs up or subscribe. I'll be putting out a lot more content over the next few months. I'm kind of just getting started here. I just wanted to share what I enjoy doing, and that's being outside in the sunshine, water, and woods. Thanks y'all for joining me on this adventure. Say bye, Dan. Say bye. Say bye. Say bye. You going for a swim? He gone.